Hey folks, welcome to the Generational Gap. I am Robert, your resident Gen Xer, and right over there, beside me is John, your resident Millennial. John, how are you doing tonight? Good to see you.
Fan fucking tastic.
Wow, that's a lot of F's.
Yeah. Yes. There's
Uh,
two.
yeah, that sounds like that's got some energy to it. So,
Yeah, but that was it. That was like the reserves of my energy. So it's gonna be pretty monotone and
so you're tapped out at
lax
this
for the
point.
night. Yep.
That's. Does that bother you at your age? That you're
No,
no.
no, I didn't get home from work until about 6 o'clock. So I'm pretty exhausted.
Are you?
Yeah.
I can see how that would be a thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like you do a real day's work, right? I mean,
Bitch.
I can think of only one person that does like a real day's work, a man's day's work.
That would probably just be our God Emperor, President Trump, of course.
No,
He's the only one who would ever do a man's work. No?
um, you know who I'm talking about, but we'll keep it on the DL. I won't call anybody out.
Do I? I guess I don't.
Really?
I
No,
don't
you
know.
don't know who I'm talking about.
No?
No, yeah, yeah. You don't always read everything when you lurk in Discord, do you?
No, no, I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. So you don't always get a callback reference. If Jake from Freedom Scoop was in the chat, which I think he might be, he might
He
remember.
was.
He might recognize what I'm talking about or who I'm talking about. But anyway, so John, how was your the rest of your weekend? I saw you a little bit of midget B
Saturday.
action going on.
Yeah, Midget B was there. He was a little exhausted and worn out by the time he left, but it was all right. It was pretty good.
Hey, when you're gonna do it, when you're gonna do an all male porn video,
Yeah,
you gotta
it's
bring your A game and know you're gonna
it's
go
pretty
home.
tiring. He's probably still sore,
They don't call
knowing
him
that.
midget for nothing.
That's right.
But so yeah, nothing exciting, just working, just boring stuff like that, right? Just
Yep. Other than Saturday, it's my my day to kind of play and do non-work, non-political stuff. So,
you really don't have much of a life, do you?
um,
Because if like
no.
that's the extent of your like that's the excitement in your life, really, that's just kind of sad because I'm there for that, and it's
So what exciting did you do this weekend? Since your life is so full of exciting nonsense,
I
traveling abroad, I'm sure.
took care of my grandchild for a while.
Yeah, that sounds
Did some
fun.
stuff out in the garden. Installed an air conditioner in my office.
Nice.
Yeah, so now I'm actually almost a little bit chilly. I think I might have to turn it down.
Ooh.
This is a new sensation for me while I'm doing a show. Usually I'm just hot and hoping that I'm not sweating on camera too much.
Right.
So
That's fair.
that's my boring, simple, mundane life.
Oh, sweet. So we
So
apparently have a couple topics
no,
for tonight.
we've got nothing.
Oh, okay,
No,
cool.
I just
Then
can't.
that was a good show. Then I guess we'll see you guys on Friday. Oh, you look like you want to say more. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Hey, by the way, yeah, yeah, that is
Yeah.
exactly what I was thinking. That is the kind of thing that gets my mind racing. So, John, have you ever been bitten by a tick? Have you ever had to deal with
No,
ticks ever?
I've actually not. No,
You've never
I'm
had a
lucky.
tick on you, even when you were a kid.
Not that I can think of.
Did you not go out in the woods much? You weren't much of an outdoors kind of kid, or
No, I mean I did. We had in Charleston we had woods like right near the house, and I wasn't supposed to. I wasn't allowed to go in there, so naturally that spent most of my time there. But no, I don't. I don't remember at least ever having a tick.
wow,
Can't say that I did.
that's interesting. Because I
I
mean,
did find a cow bone one time. It was a leg bone, just like the full like big ass bone. Had it in my closet for years because of course I was like 7 or 8 years old, so I thought it was a dinosaur bone, but
that's
it turned
not
out just to be a cow bone.
that's not off topic at all.
And it
So,
had a BB in it embedded in it. Probably a buckshot though, some kind of bird shot or something. I don't know, but it had like a little pellet, little tiny little pellet embedded in the leg.
Hmm. Probably an
Yeah,
alien artifact, right?
probably. Yeah,
So
most
anyway,
likely.
okay, that's interesting because I grew up around, I grew up out in the country. Out in the country, ticks were
Hmm.
a common everyday thing. Plus animals. You've had animals. Any ticks on
Oh yeah.
animals? You've dealt with them
Uh,
that way? No.
I don't think so. The only time I remember dealing with a tick is a friend of mine got a tick on him once. Like that was it.
Wow.
I don't. I
Interesting.
don't. Maybe it's like they're not in South Carolina that much. I don't know.
Wow. I would think
But
they'd be
yeah,
all over the damn place out there.
I would too.
Um,
Maybe I was lucky. I don't know.
so anyway, but you've heard of Rocky Mountain spotted fever, right? Like that you can get from ticks,
From the ticks.
deer
Yeah.
ticks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So apparently, the House has ordered the Pentagon to release some information because apparently from 1950 to 1975, the Pentagon supposedly um, experimented with insects as far as being able to transfer biological weapons,
Hmm.
and ticks being like one of the major ones that they used. But apparently, they want it's an amendment that they want to require the Pentagon Inspector General to tell Congress whether they experimented with weaponizing disease carrying insects and whether they were released into the public realm either accidentally or on purpose.
Right.
So, not only do they expect the Pentagon to tell them if they were working on them, but then they want them to fess up as to whether or not the insects were released out into the public.
No, is this like a Freedom of Information Act thing, or like what's the deal?
Well, apparently it's a defense authorization bill that was going in, and it's an amendment as part of that bill. Um, but you would think that, well, what's the Freedom of Information Act range? It's 50 years, isn't it?
Um, no, it's got to be less than that.
I thought it was like
It's
50
got to
years
be.
because it was just not too long ago that Area 51 information was supposed to be released, remember?
Well, yeah, but I think if you make a request on something, I'm not 100% sure how it works. But here, let's look it up. Why don't you ramble on about something for a moment?
Well, my thought is if it were 50 years, this would be asking for it to be released early because it would be 2025 before you'd reach the 50-year point for the end of the experimental range that they're talking about. Um, but
Hmm.
they are, I guess they're, part of it is, they've heard rumors and there's been some behind the scenes investigations into this a little bit. But there's some other stuff like Lyme disease, things like
Hmm.
this. They want to know if this was something that was introduced, and if someone should be held accountable for this. I guess ultimately, but I thought it was odd, and even more so. Um, Apparently, Nixon in 1969 uh, banned any government research into biological weapons. But they continued
Hmm.
on until 1975, and it's possible they may have been doing research into protecting U.S. military from biological weapons. But yeah, that's a little bit concerning, right?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I've looked at the Freedom of Information Act shit, and I didn't see anything that said any kind of specific time. But maybe they don't have to release that information. It just said that all you have to do is put in writing what you're looking for and like a reasonable description of it, and they'll give it to you. So I think it's for like super classified shit that it takes a while for it to come out, which I suppose that would be pretty classified.
Well, do you do you believe we should be working on biological weapons at all? I mean, is that something that we're even allowed to? I would think that Nixon's ban might still be in place.
Probably, but I mean, we do a lot of shit that we don't. Well, we're not supposed to be doing.
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
I know that. I know that. How ridiculous, right? But yeah, I mean, as for should we? I mean, I guess it. Fuck. I mean, I guess it depends on if other people are doing it, other countries. Because I mean, it's kind of one of those things where you're kind of stuck in a between a rock and a hard place because you don't want to fall behind on research like that and have be taken advantage of. But at the same time, you don't want to encourage others to use it.
Right.
So it's kind of yeah.
It's yeah. It'll always be. I mean, we can always research biological weapons under the guise of preventative maintenance. Right. I mean,
And that's what it would all be done. Yeah, absolutely.
there's always that double edge to the coin when it comes to our government. This is much like I say, any kind of legislation on one of our amendments, one of our constitutional rights, whichever side you legislate on, it opens the door to legislate on the other side as well. I mean, there's always it's always an open door to both sides of the bullshit.
Yeah.
Tom Fitton.
I'm not sure who that is. The only person that I know who uses that is he's this Navy SEAL guy on YouTube and other places. Oh fuck, what's his name? Oh man, but he does that on people who like are faking being Navy SEALs, and so he pulls their like military records if they have any, and he uses that to do it. What's his name? And his channel name is Buds131, but I can't remember what his actual name is. Uh, Don Shipley. That's who it is. Don Shipley. Really cool guy. But yeah, he's the only one I know who uses it on a regular basis.
Uses what?
The freedom of information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he
Well,
can pull military records and such. So he can
right.
not only can he say he has access to the SEAL databases, so he can be like, I know you're not a SEAL, but then he can pull up like what they actually were, if anything. He's actually the one who like busted what was his name? The guy from Covington, Nathaniel something, and yeah, he was saying how he was like a ranger, something, recon ranger or something like that. That's something that doesn't exist. And then he was like, "No, you're an electrician." He found out he's actually just an electrician. He never went to Vietnam until like after the war, or like towards the end or something like that. Never saw combat or anything. So
You're saying somebody lied, John?
I know, right? Who would just go on the internet and tell lies? But yeah, no, that was pretty good, and that's what got his channel banned, and then now he's back. So
Well, I know that there's when it comes to government when it comes to government stuff, and Area 51 is a good example of this. I know that there's
oh yeah,
a time frame in which they don't have to release the information. Basically, enough time for the thing to go cold. I guess I don't know, but. But no, when it's all said and done, I mean, it would be nice to know if that kind of shit's going on, though. Not that the ticks are still going on, but it does
yeah,
make them. I mean, they're pretty bad here in Florida. I mean, if you go, there's parks where you can go to where they're just like, okay, here's what you should expect when you go through the park, and one of the big things is it talks about all the things to watch for with ticks. Because they're all
yeah,
over in the area, and of course, sure enough, I mean, we went through there, and even being careful, we all had at least one on us going somewhere, So it's like, they carry some pretty nasty stuff. Not as bad as I don't know. I don't know if they're as bad as mosquitoes can be, though. There's another one. I'm like, do they weaponize mosquitoes? Is the bird flu really happenstance? Is that
right. But speaking of Area 51, have you seen all those Area 51 memes? Where
Yeah,
people are saying they're going to be, I guess running into it, trying to take over. Area 51, or at least get going inside and
Right.
finding aliens and stuff.
Yeah, Tenchi was telling me a little something about that, and I'm kind of curious to see how much like realistic impetus there is to make this happen. You
It's
know,
not gonna happen. A bunch of weebs trying to get into Area 51? I don't think so.
I mean, it would take a lot of people to
Well,
actually.
over 1 million have signed up, but I mean, how many of those do you actually think are going to show up? You know, most of them are just there for the memes.
Well, the real question becomes, is there going to be food,
Well, they're going to meet at
music?
the
Is there
they're
going
going
to
to
be?
meet at the tourist attraction there, the Area 51 like tourist
Well, of
thing.
course. I mean, you want to get
And
yourself
yeah,
pumped up.
yeah.
But if there,
So I'm
is there,
sure there's a
if
cafeteria there or something for 1 million
right,
people.
I mean, if
Yeah.
there's going to be food, if there's going to be food, maybe DJs, food trucks showing up, maybe even a beer garden.
Oh
If
yeah.
you go that route, you might get, maybe you'll get a 35% turnout off the million.
Maybe.
You
At
know,
least that'll turn up to the tourist attraction. Don't know, how many are actually going to storm Area 51. And
well,
Midget B in the chat there says the NSA is going to ban travel to Arizona. Did they say that, or is that is that just something you're saying?
you know
And
that
these people we put on a watch list. Shit, I hope it happens so as to show the extent of government intervention.
I believe
Well, I
that.
mean, to be fair, they're kind of. I mean, everyone knows you're not supposed to go to Area 51.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they
There's
really do. They
no.
know.
You can go right up to the fence.
No, you really can't. You're
Yeah,
gonna
it
get
just.
stopped way before then.
Well, you can go. Well, the border, like there's a fence that surrounds Area 51.
Yeah,
That's
see, he's just talking shit. I knew it. But no, I mean, because I think it was the Air Force actually did make a statement. Um, did make a statement about it and how they're not gonna that they're aware it's a joke, but they're not gonna like not take it seriously. So like they're basically warning people, don't do it. Trust us, don't do it.
what would be the shit is if our federal government, if our military had the balls to use alien technology for crowd control.
That would be amazing. Yeah,
Like a
like
ship
this.
just hovers up out of the base.
I
Please
like what Midget B
disperse.
said. Your first statement. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, those shit fires. Those guns fire really fast. It's fucking
that
crazy.
that could be some funny shit if they could put something together between
Yeah.
now and then to where they could just come up with an alien craft and
Yeah, it's like, this is
disperse
what
the
you wanted,
crowd.
isn't it? Are you
Disperse the
not
crowd.
entertained? And then just kill everyone. That would be fucking awesome.
Well, I don't think we have to kill everyone, John. We can calm
Well,
down
they're
there.
gonna. But if they did, no one would ever show up to Area 51 again.
Do you think it would stop the
Yeah, I think it would.
people would just be like, okay, we won't even talk about conspiracies with it anymore?
Didn't someone actually make it in back in like the early 90s? I was pretty sure someone either made it or almost made it.
Into Area
Something like
51?
that. Yeah.
I don't know. We wouldn't be sitting here going, didn't somebody do this? I think we would know. Wouldn't that be like the story of Area 51 that you remember?
That's funny. I type in Area 51, the first thing that comes up is raid.
I don't know, man. What if they could pull it off?
Event. Let's see.
I mean, let me ask you.
Oh, here's a Reddit meme. That it must be true then.
Would it not be worthwhile just to go and watch the festivities? How many people will go just to do? How many people will go just to do that?
I'll watch it live on YouTube or Live Leak or some shit.
Live leak?
Yeah. Well, because people are gonna die. You can't put that on YouTube.
Nobody's gonna die. The government's not going to kill a bunch of idiots that show up with no way to get into a government facility.
You don't think so?
What are they going to do? Walking Dead it just like in mass against the fence till it falls over?
They very well might.
They won't. There's nothing that important at Area 51.
Look, even CNN is saying it's a terrible idea, so you must know that it's serious.
You know what's going to make it happen is all the media coverage of it. It's going to prompt more people
Yeah,
to
see?
go.
They made an arcade game about it.
About what?
No, it's I was fucking around. But yeah, no, there's a game.
Area 51.
Yeah,
Yeah, they've
it
made
was like
quite a few
'92.
games like that, right? I mean, even
So it's like there's like stand up arcade games with little guns that come out.
wasn't there Destroy All Humans? Wasn't that kind of rooted in Area 51? There
Hmm.
was some tie-ins there,
Yeah, it was like 1940s or 50s. You
right?
know, Anytown, USA.
Well,
And
John,
that was a fun game.
what do you think happened? Is any
What?
of it real?
What?
Area 51,
Area
the
51?
supposed incidents that happened there. I mean,
No, I have no idea. Probably not. It's probably just a bunch of bullshit. I mean, people are full of shit and memories are faulty.
I
So,
mean, so in the idea that something, I mean, because there's been some pretty dramatic conspiracy theories surrounding Area 51.
mhm.
Some very, I'll go ahead and air quote, startling evidence, right? I mean,
Mhm.
some that is startlingly real. To where there's enough there to cause, I don't know, maybe reasonable doubt, right? What? Why would there be so much hype about it if there was really nothing there to
Because
talk about,
people want
right?
there to be something there. It's more exciting than their boring lives. That's generally how conspiracy theorists work. It's the fiction is way more exciting than reality. So gives them some purpose in their otherwise listless lives.
So then, I guess the question would be: Is it instead of letting it go on all these years? Why hasn't? I don't know. I don't. Has there been enough transparency by the government, the military, for us to say beyond a reasonable doubt that nothing actually happened involving Area
I mean, no,
51?
certainly not. But it's, I mean, is it not in their best interest to keep that going so that people follow that red herring as opposed to, trying to find out what kind of secret, military projects are actually going on there?
See, then that
Wouldn't
makes
it be
me.
better to keep it shrouded in mystery and,
Then that tells me I might need to question the moon landing.
well, yeah, that's obviously fake. I mean, I can't believe you even believe in the moon. God,
Well, I
you're such
have.
a sheep.
It's
God.
there's something up there around, and
Yeah, it's a big light bulb.
is that the light bulb?
Yeah,
Is
it's a
this
light bulb.
is this
It's the
just
darker one. The one we have the one on during the day, the day. Sorry, the day, and then we have another one that comes on at night to tell us when to go to bed.
so this is just one big Truman show?
Yeah, massive Truman Show.
Midget B. I gotta say, I
Hmm.
did read about this. Have you? I don't know if you've
I've
read
seen
about
the
this.
woke James Bond. Yeah,
Wait,
she's supposed to be like, but she's not James Bond, right? She's the 007 that takes over,
she's gonna,
and then
yes.
James Bond is supposed to hit on her, and she's supposed to be like, no, I'm a strong, independent woman. I
Yeah.
don't need no bond.
I'm
Like, yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but this has got to be the worst decision ever made. Now, it was enough that you had interchangeable bonds because
Yeah.
the name 007 applied as an agent number. Okay, I get that. That's good because people get old. Sean Connery can't whip that shit the way he used to. Although
Yeah.
he was the
He
definitive
was.
James Bond.
He was the
Fight
Bond,
me.
yes.
Fucking fight
No.
me. I
I'm on
dare
your
you,
side on this one.
anyone. I'm challenging anyone out there to fight me on fucking Sean Connery as James
Yeah,
Bond.
no, Sean Connery is James Bond.
He is
Everyone
the
else is a
original.
fake.
He is the original 007. Everyone else is 007 point something.
Yeah.
Anyway, but to have a woman be 007, I'm sorry it flies in the face of everything that James Bond is.
Yeah, welcome to the new world.
I will not take part in this.
You are such a racist and a sexist, misogynistic, chauvinistic pig. How dare you? You
Right?
piece of shit.
There's really nothing left in this country for me to do besides run for president.
Well, I mean, you can go watch the new Star Wars when it comes out,
I wouldn't want that.
and the new Little Mermaid when it comes out. Yeah, there's still other woke movies for you to see. It'll be okay.
You know, the closest to woke that I want is The Matrix. So that's
Yeah.
just folks woken up.
Oh, so you are a filthy istophobe. God damn.
I will not give a shit that I don't know what that means. So I don't
Means
know
you're
what it.
scared of ist. All the ists.
Oh, is that I'm
Yeah.
scared of all the ists, or I
Yeah.
am all the ists?
You're all the negative ists.
See that?
Racist, sexist.
See, I don't know if
You know,
istophobe is actually the right thing to say there.
it
Because
could
if
be. You
I
could be
am a
phobist.
racist and I am a misogynist, then I am the ist, and I'm not scared.
Right. So you're a phobist. I don't
What?
know.
See, now you're
Yeah, you're a
just
phobist.
reaching. You kids try and meme on the fly, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, most memes don't make it off the ground. You only see the good ones. You never see the shit ones, unless you're a boomer. Then you see the boomer ones,
I make shit ones
boomer
all the time.
memes. Yeah, I know. I've seen them. I mean, she's not woke enough. Yeah, she's not disabled. She's not trans. She
Who?
doesn't have like smallpox.
Who?
The new
The new
James
James Bond?
Bond.
She is
Yeah.
disabled. She's a woman.
Well, yeah, but that's already a woman thing. Like, I'm talking about more disabled. She's not in a wheelchair. It's not like obvious. She's
Okay,
just a woman.
so let me ask this. If we're going to have a female 007, who the hell is going to sleep with the bad guy's wife and or girlfriend?
She doesn't have to. She's strong and independent.
Okay, you cannot
She most
be
certainly has enough to
007
eat.
and not seduce your way in close to the bad guy. And the
It's okay.
bad guy is always going to have a female companion that you get
Yep.
close to.
Not anymore. Welcome to 2019. In my current year, I don't think so.
So you're telling me I'm going to have I'm confronted with a 007 that will have no gratuitous sex and womanizing?
Correct. It's going to be completely woke
Yep, I'm
and
done.
politically correct.
I'm done.
And yeah.
I'm done. So speaking of ists, John,
Oh yeah.
so everything blew up as of yesterday, right? Everything in Trump world blew up.
Oh yeah. Trump
The
is. It's
tweet,
finally happened. We're finally going to get him. He's
the
finally going to get impeached with this one.
the
It's
twit,
happening, boys.
the
Press F for Trump.
the Twitter happened again, right?
Oh no.
Trump went off, and he was talking about the four apocalyptic congresswomen that he currently has an issue with, and how much they hate America. Well, here's the tweet. I think I pulled it up. I finally found it. It took so long.
You
Twitter is hard to
mean I
navigate.
finally found it?
No, I finally found it. But, yeah, you were there.
I found it.
Oh, son of a bitch, I may have lost it.
Oh my god.
I'm just
You
kidding.
incompetent fool.
I was down in the comments.
Oh wow, we got 2 Fs for Trump. She's really gone now. One for Trump, one for Pence, maybe.
What's an F?
F for the president. You don't understand memes.
No.
I don't have time to explain them.
Yeah. All right, so here's the tweet. So interesting to see progressive Democrat congresswomen who originally came from countries whose governments are a complete and total catastrophe. The worst, most corrupt and inept anywhere in the world, and if they have a functioning government, if they even have a functioning government at all. Now loudly and viciously telling the people of the United States, the greatest and most powerful nation on earth, how our government is to be run. Why don't they go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came? Then come back and show us how it is done. These places need your help badly. You can't leave fast enough. I'm sure that Nancy Pelosi would be very happy to quickly work out free travel arrangements.
I'm sure she would. Oh man, how amazing is that?
Oh,
It's so
John.
great.
But it crosses a line.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
God, he crossed a
Name
line.
it name a tweet that hasn't crossed the line. No, I mean he's
Uh,
obviously baiting, and not only did you, but millions of other people took the bait as well.
okay, so is it wrong to take the bait when it's just, I don't want to hear my president setting this tone for the country?
Then don't look at Twitter.
You know he's influential in it. It doesn't matter. It's on
I
Twitter, then
know.
it goes into the news.
Right.
So it's like, okay, don't listen to anything.
Yes, correct.
Just stick your head in the sand and ignore everything,
That's
right?
that's the only way to keep your sanity. Otherwise,
Right.
good luck. Good luck to you.
This is this, and that's purely why this bothers me. Is that it sets a negative tone in this country. I feel us like sliding a little further closer back to where we were shortly after 9/11, when we were very anti Islam, and anybody that looked Islam, there was a lot of profiling
Yeah,
going on at
the
the time.
country was a lot more united back then, though.
Yes,
So it's totally
it,
different than just after 9/11.
but we were turning against people.
Yeah, we had a common enemy.
But
Well,
we were turning against our own citizenry. Simply
yeah, but
because
that's
they
not what
were
we're
affiliated.
doing.
Well, three of these women are citizens of this
Right.
country from
Yeah. So
birth.
you're looking too deeply into it, right? It's not about like the what he said. It's the tactic that's being used, right? It's that you know the all the attention was on these other things, whether it be at the border, Pelosi talking shit, whatever else was going on. He brought the attention back to these four women who are going to be the ones who lose the Democrats the election in 2020, because they're the ones who are moving the party further and further to the left. And now most people don't like that. Some people do. Most people are not going to vote for that. So keeping the attention on them and letting them be gaff machines, is going to lose the party the election in 2020. And he's keeping the attention on them and himself at the same time. That's what it's about. It has nothing to do with him actually believing the things that he's saying.
But that's, he came out and he responded to this in a press conference, and he said he doesn't have a problem with having said it because most of the country agrees with him.
Of course.
That
Uh-huh.
most people agree with him, so there's nothing wrong with what he said. And it's like,
Okay.
okay, well, you're just going to assume that most people A, agree with you, but B, what about the people that it does bother for various reasons? But I mean, when it's all said and done, I understand what he's trying to accomplish, but in this day and age, the way that's going to come across is just inciting
Mm-hmm.
anger
For
in the
for
population.
a day or two until their anger is pointed elsewhere, or back at something else that he said. Now the new thing that he said that pisses everyone off.
Sure,
I mean, yeah.
but the ripple effects from that among the citizenry are not
I don't know.
positive because it
I don't know
pits
what ripple
people.
effects.
Well, it pits people against each other. Now it's okay to tell. Now it's okay to tell anybody that's not the same color as you, or is not, is a different nationality. Go back where you
Well, let's.
came from. Go back where you came from. Now they
Well,
don't
see,
have a
see, you're not
voice.
even no. So that's not what he said. He didn't just
I
say
didn't.
go
I'm
back
not.
where you came from.
It's not what he said.
Right.
It's what's going to be said out there in the field.
So he's responsible for what other people say.
It
I
sets a
mean,
tone. Yes, he is. He sets a tone for this
because
country.
no one was saying that beforehand.
He is the most influential person in this country at the present time. So he
Sure.
will influence how people act, and he needs to take responsibility for that.
But no one was saying that beforehand, before Trump was president.
No, it's not that they weren't, but it sets a tone when it's coming from the top. When it's coming from leadership, it says it's okay to do it in the public sector, and
It's
to
always been
cause
okay
more.
to do that.
No, it's never been
That's freedom of speech.
okay.
Yes.
I understand freedom of speech is one thing.
Yes. And you're still going to suffer the same social
And do you
consequences you would
think
have
it'll
suffered if you said it before.
and you think it'll stop at speech? No one will act in any significant way upon these kind of
Okay, well, let's
things.
look at how many people who would say something like that have acted in such a way in the past, and how many people who condemn someone saying that have acted recently, right? Where's the violence been coming from in the past 3 years? So,
I would say it's been coming from lots of different angles.
really? Because I'm pretty sure it's, with like one exception, it's been coming from one direction.
And when you say violence, you're just
Hmm.
you're blanketing violence across the country or specific
Political
incidents.
violence, yeah, like
Uh,
violence at protests and rallies and such like that. Where's that been coming from?
it's been coming. I mean, it comes from anybody who gets involved in them. But I don't know who are you trying to pinpoint? Antifa?
Obviously, yeah,
Uh,
obviously.
yes, because Antifa is such a big fucking deal. What about white
Okay, well, they
supremacists?
are.
I mean, white
Yeah, what about them?
supremacists are out there causing trouble at rallies and shit, driving vans into fucking people. You
No.
know, yes, no white supremacist this past year has driven a van into a bunch
A
of
van,
people at
no.
a rally.
Not a van, no.
What was he
But
driving?
he was driving some muscle car. But so there's a couple things wrong with that story, right? He didn't just drive his car through a group of people looking to hurt
He drove
people.
into a family.
He drove into a person. You're talking about the guy who was getting his car beaten with baseball bats and had a rifle pointed at him, and then floored it
No,
to get away from them and
no,
ran someone over.
it was the guy at where was was it
I think
North
his name was James
Carolina?
Fields. I'm not 100%.
I've got it was an article I did some work on. Um, it was and it was at a white supremacist rally gathering, and the guy drove. Was it North Carolina, South Carolina? Why is Carolina jumping into my head?
Might have been Virginia, because that's where the Charlottesville thing
But
happened.
this guy drove into a family uh, uh, that was there um, at the rally.
Let's see if we can find it. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm trying. It's been a little while since I worked on it. It was earlier this year, but it's always like, okay, now my memory. I would say there are a few horrible right wing events, but there's several low level violent incidents from the left being
Um,
encouraged in the media. That's midget B.
Talking about man charged with murder after driving into anti-far right protesters in, yeah, it looks like North Carolina. Let me see. In Charlottesville.
I think that's what it was. Yeah.
Driving. When was this? More than a year old. The car ran. Oh yeah, no, it's the same one. It's the
Yeah,
same guy.
he was in. It was something to do with
James Fields. Yeah.
update. This was him recently being in court, something to that effect.
Well, yeah, he was just sentenced. He was
Yeah,
just
that's
found
what it
guilty or
was.
something like that. Yeah, but yeah. So the deal with that was, like I said, his car was being beaten with baseball bats. He was surrounded, and a gun was pointed at him, and he hit the gas. So I mean, I can't. You can't really. That's not. There's no intention to kill people. He was saving his own life. So no, I mean the violence is coming from the left. It's not coming from the right. Not typically. Very few cases. Now they are far more impactful because
Well, when we talk about, and you can talk about that violence is minuscule. That's just violence at rallies. That happens all the fucking time. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, that's the
And
problem.
it happens on both sides. One side or the
It,
other will start the
mm,
shit.
No, it's Antifa who starts it.
White supremacists have started enough fights at enough rallies in my lifetime that you
And
can't sit here
lifetime
and
is different. As
it
I've said,
doesn't
the last
matter.
3
This
years
shit's
since
been
Trump, we're talking about Trump.
rally
We're talking
violence has
about
been going on for a long fucking time.
right, but we're talking about the violence that Trump is
No.
responsible for.
Yes, so let's talk about church shootings. Let's talk about school
Okay,
shootings. Let's talk about what prompts these people.
since when was Trump responsible for a school shooting or a church
Okay.
shooting?
Okay. So John, nobody said Trump was responsible for the shooting.
That was the whole point of us talking about this.
The tone he sets tells people it's okay to lash out at people not from this country. That's what that tone says. It is. It very much says so. Right there. It tells people that are not smart enough to think past his words that it's okay to do this stupidity. That it's okay to lash out at people. Go back to your own fucking country. Get the fuck out of this country. I don't care that your parents were born here and then you were born here. Get the fuck out of the country. That's not a tone that the President of the United States, who influences thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, to talk.
Yeah, but like you said, it's been happening in your enough in your lifetime. As in, it's not something new. It's not like there's no uptick.
What, for a president to talk like this? This is completely new.
For violence to happen like that. I mean, yeah, the school shooting thing is fairly new, but it was still going up after Columbine, before Trump was president, way before.
For anybody to act like this is okay, that this is not going to set a tone that could have negative repercussions, is an idiot. This is exactly what he wants to incite, these kind of stupidity on both sides.
No, like I said, he was trying to get the attention back onto himself and AOC and Eleanor Moore and the other two.
And he went too far. I think it goes too far. It goes farther than a president should go.
Well, most of the things he says goes too far, further than a president should go. Yeah. Are you catching up on Chant?
I was seeing what he's...
yeah, it's not right. Exactly, it's a social media thing, not a Trump thing.
You know what? If you guys are foolish to think that people don't respond to these kind of things. There's enough extremists in this country to respond to these things. So the more he does it, the more he gives them the impetus to do things out of what we would deem proper.
That's not him. That's not like he's not responsible for people being extreme. He's not responsible.
He's the president
for people doing violence.
Okay, so he's not responsible for being the most influential person in the country. He's not responsible for where his actions lead that. Am I correct? Where that takes things. He's not responsible for being the president of the fucking United States.
If someone walks into a school and shoots it up, that is not Trump's fault. If someone walks into a church and shoots it up, that is not Trump's fault. I understand that everything is supposed to be his fault, but that is not his fault. It's
not about being his fault. It's about the repercussions of his actions. His actions have repercussions.
Those aren't actions. Those are words, and those are two different things.
He took the action to tweet those words.
Yeah, those are just words, right?
So the president's words don't mean shit.
No, what I'm saying is that they're not actions.
So you want to semantic this and say that he didn't cross a fucking line? Did he cross a line?
That difference is extremely important, and it's part of it's one of the most important things of our time.
So tweeting is not an action?
Tweeting is an action. The word
yes, and he tweeted those. He tweeted it. So he took an action to tweet those words.
And exactly, he's never called for violence like Mitch B saying. He's condemned it multiple times.
So do organized crime bosses. They condemn crime on the surface. I mean, he's gonna stand up as president and say, "Hey, let's commit crimes." He has done that.
He's actively involved in committing crimes. Trump is not, as far as we know. And I think Mueller did a pretty damn good job, pretty thorough job, figuring out whether or not he did. I mean, we had a 2-year investigation, 3-year investigation.
So
mean, I understand that
it,
Orange Man is supposed to be bad no
it's
matter
got
what, but
nothing to
not
do with
everything was
that,
his fault.
John. John, instead of taking it to the meme world,
No, what I'm
keep it
saying
in
is
the
like
real
he's not.
world. The president should not
He's not
set
too.
this tone. He should
I mean,
not
that's
say
fine.
things like this. He
And that's
should
fine if you
not,
think that. That's
because
fine.
people
I
act
mean,
on that.
see that's the problem. How is that his fault if people act on anything? I mean, people act on the other direction. Like he'll say something and they'll go against. They'll attack someone who's on his side. I mean, is that his fault too, or
Uh,
are people responsible for their own actions?
you're right. You're right. He's completely fine. These are the kind of things we want our president saying to the American
No, I
people.
didn't say that.
No,
You
these are
can
things. These
not.
are okay to say because if people take this literally, then they're stupid. Because this is just a
My
tactic and
point.
it's nothing serious.
Okay, yes, and also people are responsible for their own actions.
So we don't have to take this seriously. Then it doesn't mean anything.
Well, no, he had a point when he
No,
made
he did.
it.
He made no point to me other than just hating on somebody again.
No, other than getting the attention back to where
What
he wanted it to
attention?
be.
What
What do
attention?
you mean, what attention? The media for the next
All
week
the
is
attention.
buzzing about
Yeah,
it?
the attention is on derogatory comments that he's made.
Right, and now everyone's going to come out and, whatever, what's it called? They're going to denounce it, disavow everything that he's saying. The attention's going to be on that as opposed to the things that should actually be talked about,
Which are,
which are like the border.
yeah, which is what
That's
they were
what the
talking
biggest,
about.
right, and then he got the attention off of that,
But that's
didn't
what
he?
it needs to be talked about.
Yes, I agree. But that's what he needs. He's trying to get the attention on the other thing. I didn't say it's completely correct what he's doing. I'm just saying that that's what he was doing.
It's not acceptable from a president. This is the kind of rhetoric that's not acceptable. This is the kind of thing that demoralizes the country. Under the surface, no matter what anybody says and hoots and hollers, oh, he's making America great again, it demoralizes this country because it pits us against each other.
Yeah, that was already happening way before. Like I said,
So it's
like we've been
okay,
saying,
right? You're right. Keep perpetrating it.
like we're saying, it's a media thing. It's a social media and a media thing. It's not just Trump
He
alone by himself doing all of
he
this.
is the actual gas for the fire that they build.
No,
He
he's the
is the
bug zapper that's attracting all these moths. He's the flame that's attracting the moths.
and
But the moths are still
it
there,
is
whether he's
these
there or not.
juvenile justifications of his actions that the younger generations will do that will allow him to continue to gain enough power to do the things that he wants to do, which is to really start stepping on your fucking rights. And if you don't think he will, watch. He wants to step on rights. Maybe not yours personally, John, but he'll step on them on people around you, and you'll be apathetic enough, much like the
That's
rest.
not true at all.
It's just a Trump thing. It's just a Trump thing.
It's not.
He's just controlling some of the stupid media out there and helping us get real media in front of people's eyes. He's not stepping on free speech. He's just being Trump.
When has he stepped on free speech? He hasn't
John,
done any of these things that you keep saying he's going
John,
to
you
do.
know I've said that this is he would love to do this, and he's slowly building that. I love how you sit and think that he's this 4D chess player on everything, but not on stepping on rights.
Okay, well, give an example. What's rights that he's stepping on?
I've never said he stepped on the rights. I
Okay,
have
so then
yet
what
to
is there
say.
to complain about if he's
I've
not stepping on anyone's rights? As soon as he does, I'll be right along with you.
he's
Saying
got
this is
your
fucking
apathy.
bullshit.
He builds your apathy to everything he does. This is
It's
what
not.
people are doing. They're just like, oh, it's just another Trump thing. How long does he keep just being Trump till somebody's had enough?
What do you
How
mean had
long?
enough? Again, what's he doing?
He's your fucking president, John.
Yes, I understand
And this
that.
is not the kind of shit that a president does.
Okay, yes.
I mean, unless you just have I don't give a shit standards for this country.
No, it's that
and
we
his
already knew he was
reputation.
like this. He's not any
So
different
we're
than he
okay
was
with
3
it
years
just
ago.
because we knew he was going to be like this?
Doesn't mean you have to be okay with it.
Yes, that's
I've
what
never said you
everybody's.
have to be okay with
Every
it.
time someone argues in his defense on this stupidity, it's saying it's okay because
No, what I'm saying is
we're all
you're
expected to lie
entitled to your
down to it.
opinion of it. I'm saying you're entitled to your opinion and your interpretation of it. That's all I'm saying. And so is
It's
everyone else. If you don't think that that's something that he should be saying, then fine, that's not something that he should be saying. But the fact is, he did, and the world is zero difference. There's zero difference because of it, other than people direct their
well, I
daily
mean, what
outrage that way instead of a different way
it's been
today.
24 hours, right? I mean, let shit hit the fan for a little while.
Yeah, and exactly what Midget B is saying there. Imagine those tweets without the virulent news coverage and manufactured outrage. And that's the biggest thing is the manufactured outrage. I
Hold
haven't
on,
really seen
hold
it.
on.
Hang on, because I haven't really seen it all that much. This manufactured outrage until the Little Mermaid thing came out, where it was it's what's her name, Hale Bailey or whatever. I've seen nobody say, "Oh, what a shitty thing! This is horrible. Why is this happening?" Yet I've seen all the backlash about it, being like, "Oh, all the people saying that it's wrong or just sexist or whatever." But I've not seen anyone say that they can't do this or this isn't right or whatever. So I mean that's an example of manufactured outrage. It's been crazy.
I'm sure.
That-
Great, great.
yeah,
There's My outrage is manufactured from reading this tweet. It has nothing to do with any of the media.
I'm
I'm
not
reading
saying
his
you.
words and I'm outraged by what he said.
Yeah, I'm not saying you though.
So
I'm
not
just
all of
saying
this is
the rest of the
manufactured
country.
outrage. This is some of this is just pure outrage.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in general, right? There's a lot of that. And it's not just we're not just talking about this incident. We're talking about
Sure.
every burp and fart he's made over the past 3 years. Most of it's been manufactured outrage. Most of it's been taking something he said out of context. It's been or making something up completely about what he said. These sorts of things, or that he didn't disavow something enough. Things like that.
It's the idea that he loves being the source of that outrage and does everything in his power to be in that specific spotlight. It's like he intends it to happen almost on a daily basis. That's not what I want to. That's not how I want to know my president. That's not how I want to know that my country's being represented. It's fucking rude. I don't. I just don't. This is the kind of shit that I expect from a despot, from a fucking dictator. These are the kind of things and lashing out and creating divisiveness that I expect from places like that. Not in America, John. That's not what we've been. Not like this. I mean, this
Yeah,
is
but
this is
see, that's the
far and
thing.
away different than anything I've ever experienced as an American.
Right, but the presidents who have acted more presidential and been more charismatic and been the better orator are the ones who have been stepping on our rights more and more as time has gone on. I mean, is that I'm fine with this exchange of not stepping on my rights and being a little crass and crude and calloused, even. I mean, and not that he hasn't completely, because there's one or two things I can think of where he has, but that's about it. I mean, it's really not been as much as other presidents before him.
It's this idea that, above all else, you know, the president should be sowing not discord, but what's the opposite of discord? Unity.
But how can he when he's got an entire party, an
He's
entire media,
he's
and
got
an
to be
entire
above
thing
it.
against him?
He's got to be
He's
above it.
Yeah, but then he just looks like a bitch, and then
He,
he's a cowardly president. He can't win, so he might as well look strong instead of weak.
I mean,
He's not going to win no matter what,
he
no matter
has
which way he goes.
he has his own buttons that when they're pushed, it gets responses from him. He's played just as easily from the media as he plays the media. I mean, he has his hot buttons, and he
I
has
don't.
his way to get for them to poke the bear and get
The
him
last
to
one I
come
can
out.
think of. The last one I can think of is his hands, right during the
Well, no, some of
primaries.
these tweet
Like that was.
storms, like stuff will come out in the media about him, and he'll go off on a Twitter
Mm,
rant, about things like this, because they, they'll throw things out there sometimes to try and push his buttons. I understand it's a game played back and forth, but it's not something the president should be taking part in. I mean,
but
it's
it's about him. I mean, 90% of the coverage on the news is about him, and it's mostly negative. That would affect you in that kind of way as well, wouldn't it? I mean, if just everyone was just completely talking shit about you all day,
okay,
every day.
sure, but the question becomes, John, if that's happening, remove the source that they're able to take that from. Like, I mean, if you're
So he
sitting
should just
here
not be
tweeting,
president anymore.
no, if he's sitting there tweeting, ranting about this, that, or the other, because sometimes it's just off the cuff about this,
Mhm.
that, or the other, whatever. He gives them things to go off on.
Right,
He
and
stirs that pot by continuing to
mhm.
do the one thing that apparently puts this pressure on him. Why not just stop?
Well, because he has no recourse. There's no way for him to fight back against the things that are being said about him because the media is going to be saying negative things. So the only way he can do it is be like, "Hey, I'm not actually like this," or "Hey, here's actually what the deal is," and he can do that on Twitter, where he's going to reach the most people, where people are going to be responding and fighting in his comments and whatnot. And then that's how he's going to get his real news, or at least what he wants people to see. And then also, he can decide what the media talks about for the next 8 to 12 hours by tweeting something and misspelling a word, and then it's guaranteed that they're going to talk about it for a while. So if he wants them to talk about a certain thing, you just got to make a tweet about it, and there it goes.
Um, yeah, doesn't stop me from
That you
believing
don't
that
have, yeah,
he goes far too far. He
that's
goes
fine.
too far on a regular basis.
Yeah, and there are
He's
times I've thought he's gone
and
too far. I don't
he
like.
doesn't, and he has no excuse for it, because if these things are lies and not true, then he's got nothing to fight back against. Why should he fight back against it? Just do your job. Don't worry
Because
about it.
then,
If it's not true, you don't need to argue back on it.
well, you do because people will believe it if it's not true. People will still believe it. People want to believe it. In fact,
Not if they
yeah, they
see,
do.
if there's proof that it's true, the proof will be there. And if it's not,
But they don't ever offer
let
proof, and
him
people still believe it.
let somebody in his office deny it and go on. They'll do that at
They
the
do
press
that.
conferences. He doesn't need to go on Twitter and rant and call people stupid idiots and insult this person and that person, because he takes it to a very personal and demeaning level.
Hmm.
He
Yeah.
does that. He does that. He
Well,
takes
to
it
be fair,
down
they
to
do
that
it
level.
too. So,
No,
I
well,
mean, it's
I
kind of
mean,
a two-way
there's,
street.
somebody, they're not sitting there. I hear a hell of a lot more name calling from this one than I do other people.
Mm, I don't know. He's always called lame shit like the Cheeto in chief and stuff like that. So I don't know.
By people in
By
Congress.
the media
By people
mostly.
in Congress is what I'm talking about. I'm talking mostly about the people he's supposed to be working with, and
Yeah,
he's,
the one who's that one chick who's like, we're gonna go in there, we're gonna impeach the motherfucker. So I mean, there was that thing. That's pretty harsh. I mean, technically, he is a motherfucker because he did fuck a mom. Melania is a mom. So technically, that's a true statement, but it's kind of insulting. Call him a motherfucker. And so it's not only that, but I mean, he's been called racist and sexist and homophobic and Islamophobic and all these other phobicness by everyone and their mother. I mean, so those are all name calling. I mean, it's not poo poo doo doo head, but it's pretty damn close.
well, yeah, but I will say that it's things like this that when he makes a tweet like this, it gives them the impetus to say those things.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
fascist. I forgot about that. I forgot about fascist. That one too.
when it's all said and done, he's he he's given them fuel to call him a nationalist. He's given them fuel to call him a racist.
Well, he
I think
admitted to being a
race.
nationalist.
I think
So
racism is a little far on this one. I don't know that it has anything to do with race, um,
it
but
doesn't need to.
but
It's still racist.
but you know, it is one of those things where it's also just being a dumbass, and I understand you're implying that the country that they're descended from, but I mean,
Right.
three of them are from America. It's a pretty fucked up places too. So it's like I saw one of the comments and it talked about where they're originally from. It's like you're kind of saying one thing that's kind of true, but not quite what you thought you meant. you know,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, but, you know, and that's my opinion. I mean, it's like they are trying to fix the country they come from. I don't care if people don't agree with what
They're
they
really
have to
not though.
say. Well,
I mean, look at like AOC, right?
look,
With the border thing, that's been her big thing is the
shut,
border. So hang on. So she went down there and took this, had this photo shoot, in the parking lot of this detention facility. And meanwhile, she had voted down the bill that would have given them funding to have more of the supplies that they apparently need since they're, drinking out of toilet bowls and whatnot. So she actively went against the thing that would give them the money to do that, and she has yet to draft a bill to close those facilities down or anything of the like. I mean, so no, they're just activists. They're not doing
okay.
their job in legislating. They're just whining and crying until they make their way up towards the top.
Yeah, they still have an opinion. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, of course they can have an
that's
opinion.
their
Yeah.
job. Is to get in there and whine and cry. I mean, that's just being in Congress, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but that's all she's doing.
Well, that's what you've got to
She
look
wants a raise
forward
too.
to. That's what you've got to look forward to in Washington
Hmm.
about 20 to 30 years from now.
Right. So Trump's going to be the last actually strong male president, probably.
See, now that sounds a little misogynistic, John.
Well, no, no,
We
there can
can't
be
have a
others.
strong female president?
I didn't say that. I said a last strong male president.
Right. So
There
is
can be a
that.
strong woman and weak men. Yeah.
Hmm.
Why can't there be?
Yeah, the younger this is the younger
Well, I'm saying
generations
it's
are
not me.
gonna change how things are done in Washington eventually. It's going to continue down this path. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not careful, because you guys won't get off your ass and do anything about it. You guys
Mm.
could stop it. It's your generation and the
What did
one
you try to
after.
do to stop it?
Do what?
What did you try to do to stop it?
Um, we tried to find the second shooter.
Yeah.
We tried to find the second shooter,
you
John,
you were
but
you were over there looking around.
we were going to impeach Nixon, but he resigned, so
Yeah.
we got
Good
that.
enough. I mean, same end result.
And there's that whole sexual revolution. Where would you be without that?
Um, I don't know.
And I think we helped get rid of the draft, so there's that.
Well, I'm saying like you personally though.
Me personally,
Yeah.
why are you making this personal?
Well, you made it personal. You said that I could be going out, and getting off my ass and doing something.
Well, I didn't say get off your ass. I just said do something. This is your
Oh,
your
well,
generation and
this
the
is what
one
I'm
that's
doing.
following are about to be in control of this country.
I'm on
And
YouTube. That's what I'm doing. I'm voicing my opinion.
all right, let's hope it's enough.
Yeah.
You
Well, I'm not the only
libertarians,
one doing
you
it, so
libertarians need to get some face time. You need to get some
yeah.
actual worth something face time, because your country is going to slip out of your hands one way or the other. It's either going to slip into the hands of an
Communists.
an authoritarian regime, or it will
Mhm.
slip into a socialist regime. One
Well,
of those
it's
two.
all authoritarian. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, but you
socialism is
understand.
authoritarian is fascism.
You understand the difference. Why I'm
Yeah.
using those two things, right?
Hmm.
So I could have just said full on communism, but that would have spoken so much more to the just redundant authoritarianism. That's why I
Right.
went with socialist. I mean, granted, I understand, but true socialism, which is not possible, I believe, is that
No.
correct? True socialism isn't supposed to be authoritarian.
Well, no. True
At a start.
communism isn't. Communism
Well,
is supposed to be anarchist. supposed to be no government whatsoever, but it requires,
Pure so
homogeneity of thought,
homogeny.
requires homogeneous thought. Yeah. So, but so therefore it has to be authoritarian because if you don't think correctly, then the system breaks down. It's kind of a contradiction or a paradox or some such nonsense.
Wait, so who did he say? Who's Midget talking about is breaking
Um,
campaign
AO,
finance law?
AOC is AOC is being investigated for campaign finance fraud.
Gotcha. She's been
Yeah,
investigated. That doesn't mean
right.
it's been
She's not.
proven.
Yeah, right.
So we don't know that
I do
she
want to be
has.
fair. I do want
Yeah,
to be fair that it hasn't been no
right,
charges have been brought. I don't think
right.
so.
Because we would never want to assume somebody was guilty while they're
Right.
under
We want to assume.
investigation, right?
Right. We want to
Right?
assume innocence
Right. See how
before.
easy it
Yeah.
is on one side
Guilty.
or the other? See how easy it is for people? Look at that midget and see
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. See how easy it is to take one side or the other and run with the ball. You know?
I mean, I could. The only reason I could believe it is incompetence and ignorance, not malice on her part. I wouldn't think that she would do it on purpose. I think she would just be ignorant of the laws and slip up.
Well, apparently, from listening to her talk about the money in Washington, though,
Oh yeah,
and
she's a
campaign
genius.
finance reform, she has just in making that speech, though, I think that clearly defines that she could not claim an ignorance about campaign finance law.
She was extremely ignorant during that speech.
Wait, but you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess
Representing
so.
herself as
Right,
being able to
as
speak
though she
about
were
it
an expert.
cogently. Yes,
Hmm.
you've represented that you would have known this was going on. But
Yeah,
that's just my take on it. That's what that says to me. We
yeah,
can't necessarily infer these things, right? Inference is not a good thing in this country either.
sure. So,
No,
what do you think? It's been about an hour. What do you think? You got anything else you
no.
want to?
Hey, John, we've. I think that we need to. I talked to you about this off mic. I think we need to take a more proactive stance on getting people to vote. We need
Oh
to.
yeah.
We need to come up with a. We need to come up with a graphic. We need a graphic. We can start putting that up somewhere for the show, and we need to start finding a way to. We got to get a vote happening, one way or the other. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we've got. I'm not kidding, John. I mean, I could get behind a libertarian point of view if there was a solid one, and there was enough momentum, and I could even get
Yeah,
behind
solid
trying to
candidate, right?
a solid candidate, a solid mindset too, because of course we're going to have this disparity of opinion on what
Yeah.
libertarianism, right? But if
Mm-hmm.
we could get a solid
How
mindset,
libertarian is the correct amount of
correct.
libertarian? Yeah.
How much liberty is too much liberty?
Right.
But yeah, a combination of a good ideology and a good candidate, I could get behind really doing some push in this. But again, you know, nothing matters in any fucking election if we don't get down to the vote. So I think we need to take a hard stance on that and really, I don't know, do our part to get more people involved. Can we do that, John?
We
Could we
can
do
certainly
something?
try.
Can we attempt it?
I think we can. We could do it.
Will it, we need to talk to Jake from Freedom Scoop. We need a voting montage.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
We need a montage video.
Gonna be a montage.
Yeah.
Montage. Yeah.
Hey, folks, if you
You're
like
gonna
what you're
be a
hearing, hit the like
montage.
button. If you haven't done it already, hit the subscribe button. We've got a lot to talk about
Yeah.
and not much to say. So make sure you're joining us here for Shooting the Shit. This is just our bullshit show. But we'll be back on Friday. We're going to be in at around 8:30 on Friday night to do our regular Friday night broadcast. We may or may not have someone special lined up. And if we don't, then it'll just be you, our special audience.
You guys are very special to
They
us.
are. They
Very
are.
special.
So, and I'm going to
Give you
see,
a nice
John,
pat on the
nice. That's nice when you pat him on the head. I'm going to see
Yes,
if I
they
can,
like that.
I'm going to see
Yeah.
if I can get this, this dual stream situation figured out
Yes.
between now and Friday. And other than that, John, there's places to find us. We're not Easter eggs. It's pretty easy to
It's
find us,
true.
right?
We're in lots of places. We are on Twitter at the Gen Gap P. We are on Discord. Our server link is right down here, along with all of our other links. You can find us on Freedom Scoop as well, which is a pretty sweet place with some scoops and freedoms. And then we've also are working on a D Live account, so that link is also down there. All of it's down there. You can go ahead and just go and sub to us over there, and once we get it all figured out, you can choose which way to watch us, whether here on YouTube or there on D Live,
I may have to
or
stick.
both. You can open two windows. Watch both.
I may
Up
have
to
to
you.
stick that back in. I may have pulled that out because of the faux pas last time, but I'll get it stuck back in there or something.
All right, yeah.
All right, John, it's been real. It's been fun. Blah, 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 blah. Insert a corny joke there.
Yes.
We'll be back on Friday night, and hopefully we'll have something fun and exciting to talk about. I can think of 3 things, but 2 of them don't matter.
Haha.
All right, John, I'm going to get the hell out of here. You have yourself a good one, brother. Folks,
Yep.
stay safe out there. Have a good night. Peace.
See you.